What's up, everybody? How the hell's your day going, by the way? Yeah, I hope it's going pretty good. Welcome back to the channel. This is Legitical Response. We cover political news. We keep you up to date and informed on what the government's doing because we need to know what the hell the government's doing because they do underhanded stuff all the time. And the mainstream narrative machine just likes to cover up some of the more egregious stuff, right? So if you're interested in staying informed and staying up to date, smash that subscribe button for me and turn on your notifications. It helps. And if you also could, before we get started, look right below the video and smash that like button for me. It would be a very, very big help. It helps with the algorithm and helps the channel to grow and prosper. So if you could, smash it kindly. Thank you. But as we all know, I talk about it all the time. Congress has a spending problem, right? Especially since COVID. It's been egregious since COVID. I'm talking about $1.5 trillion deficit spending. This is outright insanity. Who the hell? Let me know down in the comments section right quick if you can spend more money per week or per month or how, whenever you get paid, if you can spend more money than you make. Most people can't do that. You might yell, hey, well, people have credit cards. Yeah, but you got to pay that back. Or else they come and start trying to take your assets or garnish your wages and all this other stuff. And most people's credit cards have a debt ceiling, right? Well, so does the U.S. government. But you, as an individual consumer, you can't just go to the credit card company and say, my family voted, we're going to go ahead and lift the debt ceiling. Yeah, so you're going to give me X amount of dollars more credit. We can't do that. We can't spend more money than we make per week if you don't have a credit card. Most people aren't that stupid as to try to just max out a credit card and say, screw it, get another credit card and max that out. So why the hell should the government do that? Spending at $1.5 trillion deficit is absolutely insane, and only a fool would do that. Since COVID, we've had, like I said, insane spending. Now, there is a small portion of congressmen and women who want to fix this, who want to say, look, we need some cuts somewhere. We need to do something about this to fix our budget problems. Why are we spending this much money on this when it could go to this? And all this other stuff. This is why Congress can't get anything done, because people are arguing. The Democrats, they don't seem to care. They just go with, the modern monetary theory and say we can just print more money, right? Sure, it deflates the value of the money, but if it deflates the value of the money, we'll just print more money so we can still keep spending. We'll just continually print more and more and more and more money. I'm guessing that's how they think because that's what their actions show, right? Well, they don't realize, or maybe they do realize, and they're just evil, which that's definitely a possibility, right? That's going to affect me. My wages don't go up just because you can print more and more money. My boss isn't going to give me a raise every time you decide to spend $1.5 trillion more than what you make per year. That's ridiculous. So therefore, my buying power is going to go down. The Democrats, essentially, what I'm getting at is they are making everybody more and more poor on a daily basis by continuing the spending levels that we have. And it's outright ridiculous. Let's get into the story, though. Democrats warn Johnson not to cave to Freedom Caucus spending demands. Now, that sounds like, don't cave to somebody, right? But the Freedom Caucus, all they want is a clean 1% budget cut all the way across the board. Everything, 1% budget cut. You're thinking 1%. That's not going to cut back $1.5 trillion. You're right. So it's not that insane, is it? House Democrats are warning leadership against including Republican-backed riders they've described as so-called poison pills in an annual government funding bill as both sides dig in their heels ahead of a shutdown deadline next week. Now, we all know that the Democrats love to use language as their basis for attack. They always do it, right? When they run out of facts behind them, because most of the time they don't have facts, they resort to calling people racists, or you're an extremist, or whatever, bigot, anti-trans, you name it, they come up with it, right? Well, that's all this is. Poison pill. What does that even mean? We have no idea what a poison pill is, especially when it comes to appropriations legislation. What the hell could that mean? We have no idea. In a letter to House and Senate leadership on both sides of the aisle, more than a dozen Democrats on Friday pushed against annual government funding bills being advanced with harmful poison pill policy riders. We are extremely concerned that the House Republican leadership continues to advocate for policy riders that have been shown time and time again to be unpopular with the American people and obstacles to completing the appropriations process, the letter, first reported by Axios, states. Clean funding bills, free of contentious poison pill riders that members of both parties oppose, represent the best path forward as we work to fulfill our duty to the American people to keep the federal government running, the letter continued. Among the signatories listed on the letter are Democratic reps Deborah Ross, Jan Schalowski, Terry Sewell, Ruben Gallego, and Pramila Jayapal. Some very progressive people there. The letter comes after the House Freedom Caucus dialed pressure up on Speaker Mike Johnson earlier this week to put forward a year-long stopgap funding bill. The legislation would trigger automatic cuts to the government spending if the party doesn't win concessions on controversial policy riders. Now this, what they're talking about, the automatic spending cuts, right? Back before, when it was still Kevin McCarthy, when Kevin McCarthy was still Speaker. And he was going to do that continuing resolution that actually got him booted out of Congress. Thomas Massey, who is very libertarian and is once again a very good congressman. He's one of the few that are very good congressmen. Him and Chip Roy are kind of, right there, same side of the same coin, if you know what I mean. But Thomas Massey worked for years. Once he realized that voting on these bills doesn't matter as much as the rules of voting on the bills do. It's very, very complicated, and I'm not going to explain it right here, but he worked for a while to get on the Rules Committee, which sets up all the rules for voting on legislation and appropriation, pretty much anything, right? You can set up whatever rules, whatever. But anyway, to this CR that they passed, he put in an amendment, a backdoor amendment, and they all agreed to this, that if they can't reach some kind of concession by, I believe it's April 30th, don't quote me on that, but it's coming up. It may be March 1st. I'm not sure. I don't remember if it was April 30th or March 1st. He talked about it. It was like 2 months ago when I learned about this. Okay, but anyway, he put in a concession, an automatic, amendment to this continuing CR, that if they don't reach some kind of deal by this date, then we're going to automatically cut the federal spending by 1% all the way across the board. And everybody agreed to it. Hopefully, they reach that deadline, because we need this 1% cut all the way across the board. But the Democrats, everybody agreed to it because we're going to be able to work out this appropriations process by that point. So there should be no problem with that. We'll come to some sort of agreement by then, right? Well, they haven't done that yet. And that's what this letter is all about. They know about this automatic, I forget what he called it. It's an automatic amendment, but he called it something else. But I can't remember what he called it, but it's a really clever name. It's not a poison pill, by the way. That's just what they call it. But they agreed to it, and now they're pissed off about it. So that's what's going on. Shout out to Thomas Massey. If you don't, go follow him on X. He's great. I love it. Let's continue, though. In a separate letter to Johnson, the ultra-conservative caucus outlined a list of GOP-backed provisions for the party to focus on in spending talks. The list includes measures that would reduce Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas' salary to $0. Yeah, he threw that in there as well. target the Pentagon's abortion travel policy, and defund Planned Parenthood. Dude, I really, really love Thomas Massey for this, because we do not need to be subsidizing the murder of children before they're born. That is absolutely insane. That's something I've heard is the most dangerous place for children of Democrats is in the womb. Take that however you want. Also on the list are items taking aim at some of the Biden administration's actions on student loans and funding for what is described as a new, massive Pentagon-sized headquarters for the FBI. Yeah, they are. That is in there. They are supposed to be building this. Congress currently has until March 1st to pass the legislation that would keep various parts of the government funded or risk a partial government shutdown. But concerns have already risen that lawmakers are headed for another short-term funding patch as negotiations heat up. If Congress passes another stopgap funding bill to prevent a shutdown next week, it would be the fourth time that lawmakers have had to pass a short-term patch for fiscal 2024 since kicking its initial October deadline down the road last fall. And, you know, if Kevin McCarthy would have gotten off of his butt and had the Appropriations Committee work out all this stuff when he had all the time to do it, but they couldn't seem to agree on anything, because we have the Freedom Caucus, not all of them, but most of them, want to cut federal spending, especially since after COVID. They call it Pelosi levels of spending, right? Which Nancy Pelosi boosted government spending for COVID, boosted spending to try to help the economy, which it only hurt our own pocketbooks. It may have kept our economy afloat. We don't know. I don't think so. But because what is spending on this and that, these little pet programs and pork and all this other stuff, what the hell does that help with the economy? It doesn't. So you would have to do some heavy explaining to get me to understand that. But yeah, they want to kick Pelosi levels of spending out. And nobody else seems to want to do this because it for some reason, they don't want to look bad in front of their constituents because we're cutting federal spending. Who gives a damn? You know, I'm in the camp that Vivek Ramaswamy is in of, hey, let's fire like 75% of these people because they're not needed. Let's shut down the Department of Education. Let's shut down the FBI and move some of those people elsewhere, like to the marshal's office. Let's shut down some of these alphabet departments of the federal government that we don't need. Like, we don't need the EPA. We can regulate the environment through other departments. We don't need the EPA to exist at all. That's what I think. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. You know, do you think that the government can just continue spending money like this and nothing bad is going to happen? I mean, we've seen what's happened since Biden has taken office. Inflation went out of control, and now, you know, everything costs at least double of what it did, if not more, right? There's no more dollar menu at McDonald's. I'll put it to you that way. You can't get a cheeseburger for a freaking dollar no more. The double cheeseburger is like $3 now when it used to be $1. But like I said, let me know what you think about all this down in the comment section. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching. And y'all try to have a good day and be positive. Peace.